Starson Island has finally launched into early access, and honestly, I've been extremely excited about this game for months. But even though I've been looking forward to it, I'm not buying it yet, and today I want to explain exactly why. Hi friends, Plumable here. Before we dive in, I want to be transparent. I haven't taken part in any of the early tests or previews. Everything I'm sharing today comes from research, watching creators, reading community feedback, and following the game's development closely. I also previously made a deep dive on what early access was expected to include. And since I'm not sponsored or monetized, spending €40 on an early access game is a real investment for me, just like it might be for many of you. First, I want to start with the positives because I truly believe Starson Island has strong potential. Visually, the game looks beautiful, the island feels detailed and alive. The character customization alone stands out compared to many other farming sims. Being able to adjust facial features, makeup, and small details like mismatched eyes, it shows care. The profession systems are also promising. Farming, fishing, crafting, ranching, and exploration all connect together, which makes progression feel meaningful. The seasonal systems, festivals, and NPC routines give the impression of a living world, rather than just a checklist of features. As someone who genuinely loves cozy life simulation games, I can absolutely see this becoming something special. However, after researching early access impressions and watching feedback, there are concerns that made me pause. Performance seems to be one of the biggest early issues. Some players are experiencing frame drops, especially when using vehicles or moving quickly through areas. There are reports of NPCs, foliage, or objects occasionally popping in visually. There are also polish issues, outfit clipping, translation inconsistencies in some regions, overlapping sound effects, repetitive music loops. Mechanically, some systems still feel unfinished. Combat is currently quite basic. Certain quests may require progression players haven't unlocked yet. The skill progression system appears slightly unbalanced in places. And while romance exists, it seems to still be in its foundation stage. None of these necessarily mean the game is bad. Early access is meant to evolve, but personally, I prefer to see some of these improvements implemented before investing, especially if I'm paying a high regional price. Another reason why I decided to wait has to do with regional pricing differences. First, I want to be clear, the standard edition pricing in my region is actually fair. For what the game offers in early access, I think the price point is reasonable. However, the deluxe edition pricing differs across regions, and in Europe, it ended up being more expensive than many players expected based on the promotional messaging. The discount structure applied differently depending on how Steam handled the bundle, which resulted in noticeable differences between regions. Now, I want to be fair, regional pricing, VAT, currency conversion, and Steam bundles mechanics can absolutely complicate how discounts appear across countries. These systems aren't always straightforward, but from a consumer perspective, especially when supporting an early access title, consistency and transparency matter. The main issue for me is the value of the deluxe upgrade itself. The cosmetic edition comes close to €20 in my region. When I compare that to pricing in other countries, it makes the cosmetics feel disproportionately expensive. Personally, I don't currently see those cosmetics as being worth that additional cost. And if I'm paying more in my region, especially for optional cosmetic content, I want to feel completely confident in the stability and polish of the overall experience. I do want to support the game, and when I eventually purchase it, I will most likely buy the cosmetics as well. But right now, I'd prefer to see how the next major updates shape the game before committing to the full purchase. Since preparing this video, the developers have released a substantial update addressing a wide range of issues. This wasn't just minor tweaks. The update included fixes to quest progression problems, farming mechanics, NPC behavior issues, build mode stability, vehicle handling improvements for both the carriage and hoverboard, audio playback fixes, Steam Deck performance optimizations, localization accuracy improvements, and numerous interactions and visual bugs. They also reduced penalty times in minigames and added new outfits to the clothing shop, which now refreshes daily. That tells me two things. First, many of the early concerns players had were valid, and second, the developers are actively working to stabilize and improve the experience. That's encouraging. At the same time, the sheer number of fixes implemented so quickly reinforces why I prefer to wait. If these many systems required adjustments so early into early access, I'd rather let the game continue stabilizing before jumping in. And not because I've lost faith, but because I want my first experience to reflect the game closer to its intended vision. And I think it's important to step back for a moment and talk about what early access actually means. It's not a finished product, it's a version that's still evolving. Some players enjoy being part of that development journey, discovering systems early, watching them change, giving feedback. Others prefer to experience a game once it's more stable and closer to its full vision. Neither approach is wrong. It really comes down to personal preference and how comfortable you are with paying for a game that's still in progress. One of the main reasons I'm making this video is honesty. If I buy a game, I want to recommend it genuinely. Many of you might be deciding whether it's worth your own money. Since I'm not sponsored or monetized, this purchase would come directly from my own budget, so I'm approaching it the same way many of you would, carefully and thoughtfully. Early access is about supporting development. I respect that, but it's also fair for players to decide when they feel comfortable investing. So, where does that leave me? Stars on Island still has a lot of potential. I genuinely like the direction it's going, and I can already see the foundation of something special. The recent updates show that the developers are actively listening and improving the experience, which is exactly what early access should be. For me personally, I'm choosing to approach it with patience. With regional pricing differences and the number of early fixes already implemented, I'd rather let the game continue to stabilize and evolve before deciding when to jump in. I haven't ruled out purchasing it during early access, and I may very well do so, but I also might wait longer. I just want my first experience with Stars on Island to feel polished, stable, and fully reflective of its potential. And that also means this isn't the last time I'll be talking about Stars on Island. I'm going to keep following the updates closely, especially how performance, progression balance, and overall polish continue to evolve over the next few patches. If I decide to jump in during early access, I'll be covering it here on the channel, first impressions, gameplay, and a proper look at everything included, including the cosmetic content. And if I end up waiting longer, I'll revisit the game closer to full release and see how much it's grown. I think early access titles are always interesting to watch over time, and this one in particular feels like it has the potential to improve significantly. So if you're also on the fence, maybe we could kind of navigate that decision together as the updates roll out. Alright friends, thank you so much for watching and listening to my honest thoughts. I'd love to hear your opinion. Are you buying now or are you waiting? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you enjoy cozy game discussions and honest impressions, I'd love to have you here for future videos. And as always, stay curious, stay cozy, and keep exploring. Take care!